Erica Scotia here with the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. I am so happy you are here today. I want to say thank you so much to my listeners who tune in literally every single day. You guys are rock stars. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. I hope that you're finding all of our different episodes super helpful. I know today will be no exception. If you're a child care director or teacher and thinking about opening up your own center, and this has kind of been weighing on your mind for a while, then today's episode might be a really good one for you. We are joined with Sheena Jones from Foundations Academy. She is a trailblazer when creating successful child care center. She is going to share her joy of running a child care center. She'll share some of her challenges, all the things that happen when you first start out. But we're hoping that you'll find some inspiration, something to celebrate those daily victories and uncover secrets of effective leadership and resilience, because God knows you need that when you're a child care director. She is such a wonderful personality. I met her at the Born to Teach conference. And you know what's so funny? I gotta give it to Latrice. The people that went to that event were amazing. I must have made probably 50 connections with some inspiring educators. And today's guest is no different. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, whether you have an existing center. Her center is a in-home child care center, and I'll give her an opportunity to talk about it. And I want to say she is the second in-home provider. The other provider I had spoken to a few weeks ago had both an in-home and a center, which I didn't even know that was a thing. But apparently there's a lot of folks who do that. They start with the in-home. They keep it, actually three, because Serena was one too. So they started with the home child care center, worked that out, started building a reputation in the community, and then opened up an additional child care center. So these folks are amazing. And I never want my family child care home providers to feel left out, because you are equally amazing and important to our field. So I am going to be very deliberate in making sure that everyone's voice is represented here on the Child Care Directors Chair podcast. So without further ado, let me welcome our guest, Sheena Jones from the Foundations Academy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
You're simply so sweet. So tell folks a little bit about yourself and how you came to owning your own child care center.
Okay. I am a Memphis native, and I basically have wanted to teach for a while. I was teaching in a private care setting, and COVID hit. And I thought that I was leaving my classroom to go on a vacation with my family, and I never went back. COVID stayed around, of course, and so we stayed home for a little while, and then I talked to my husband, and he really supported the idea of me kind of starting my own program. And a lot of my family and friends were asking, like, are you going to do something? And so that's where Foundations Academy came from. If not for COVID, I may have still been in the classroom. And so, that's where we started.
You know, it's funny because the pandemic was the end of a lot of things for folks, but it also was the beginning for a lot of folks like that. Like my friend who owns the toddler tutor program, she started during COVID. So I think educators who had the time to really reflect, because we don't normally, right? We're always on the go and we're doing planning and all the things after hours. But really it was the first time we had, a good amount of time to really think about what were we doing in our practice? What were we doing, in the field? And so many stories like yours really just started to blossom. So was it as easy as you thought it was going to be?
So the teaching part I have down pat, especially then. Like I said, I had just left the classroom. I had that part, but the owner aspect, directing day-to-day functions, all of those things, I was like a deer in headlights, learning the process. Thankfully, having my mentor and my best friend to bounce questions off of and ask her anything that I wanted to ask her helped me a lot because I was only a teacher and I knew how to be in a classroom and I knew how to get my kids to where they needed to be and to plan. But this looks a lot different. I am everybody. I do the lesson planning. I am the guidance counselor. I am the lunch lady. I'm the principal. I am everybody. And so navigating through that was probably the part for me that was definitely a challenge. It brought about me having to put my big girl pants on and say, okay,
Hmm.
now you've lesson plans, you got that, but what are they going to eat? What time are they going to come? What does safety look like for you guys? And so those things were probably the challenges that I faced in opening an operation. Just being able to navigate everything.
And, when you're a teacher, you don't normally have to, I don't want to
Just
say handle compliance. I mean, you have to stay in compliance, but you weren't in charge of handling compliance and doing the licensing application
right.
and meeting with the licensing inspector and making sure all those boxes were ticked. And I think that's the same whether you're in a family child care center or you open a center, because there's so many directors. I was a director too of somebody's program, and you think, oh, if I'm doing everything now, so I can just open my own, and then you're like, whoa, this is a whole. You have to worry about the IRS, and you have to worry about Department of Labor and Training, and so many folks that you did not have to deal with or even care about
Exactly.
when you're running a program. So yeah, you learn so much. So
Yeah.
you said that you reached out to a colleague, a friend, and she helped you navigate that. Did she also own a family childcare
Yes.
program?
So she is Miss Mallory, a creative collegiate, and she's actually not far in location from me. But we met in a training class when I was still at the school that I worked for, and our relationship has just blossomed. She started the year before me, and so she had experienced tons of things way before it even became a thought for me. And she has been amazing. I can call her anytime, ask her anything, and it's gone from a mentorship to she is one of my very best friends.
So there's a one little golden nugget there. So you would recommend for someone who's starting to get a mentor, a
Get a
colleague,
village.
get a village. You need a whole tribe. You definitely do.
Yes,
And the other thing I think that's really important as you grow as a childcare owner is also be that person for the next
absolutely.
person coming up, right? And
Absolutely.
and I feel like I've done that a lot in my 25 years with other childcare owners and new folks coming up, which is one of the reasons I was like, let me just get outside my zip code. So, here we are. And that's why we're sprinkling these little golden nuggets throughout our episodes to help people. Cause I do believe that as an industry, we get
Get a
stronger when we help each other and support each
absolutely.
other.
Yeah, we are definitely better together. I think our
Mm.
mindset with Mallory and I is in home care, you can only have so many children. And so our goal, one thing that I would love to see in my city is that every child care is providing amazing care.
Mhm.
Everybody is giving kids in their neighborhood or, around them the opportunity to have amazing care because I can only have so many kids. And so I
Mhm.
think that we're definitely better together, supporting each other, helping each other, answering questions. Sometimes our brains are just off. We do everything. And if you're a mom or a dad outside of this, then you have that. And so sometimes you just need someone to remind you, like, hey, you already know how to do that. You've done it before. And just having that support system to lift each other up, keep each other on track, and just be there for each other. It's important.
Yeah. And I think too, when you have folks around you, sometimes they may not only support you and cheer you on and get you moving forward, but sometimes they'll help you and say, you
You
need
know,
to stop for a minute. Because when you're everything to everybody, it's
you
very
know,
easy to get sucked into oh, I forgot about me, right?
yeah,
So it's really nice when you have those folks who can also tell you, right now, Sheena, you got to take a minute, you got to take a breath, let me help you with that because, you need your day, right?
yes,
So,
that is super
yeah.
important.
So it sounds like, the timing and all of that worked out for you. But I feel like I'd like to know a little bit more about what sparked your passion for launching and managing your childcare center, because we
You know,
can all love to teach kids, but there's a little something extra, as you said, when it comes to stepping into those big girl panties, as you said. Like, what helped you turn it into a successful venture?
I think for me, it's always been just seeing the kids get it. Our logo has a light bulb inside, and when I was creating my logo, I had been in business for a little while, and when the young lady asked me, like, what is it that makes you keep doing this? And I told her, it's when they get it, like when that light bulb goes off, when you see that, hey, I can put my shoes on. Hey, I know my letters. Hey, I can do these things. And you get that connection. It's so amazing to me. Even with my own children, seeing them get things and navigate high school and middle school, and those things are so amazing to me. And I think just being able to connect with my kids and see them just flourish is like the reason to get
Hmm.
up and do it every single day.
And so sometimes I get folks that get a little upset with me when I say this, but I feel that so much in my heart. You know, there's a lot of times a lot of childcare owners, and again, I'm not being disrespectful, but a lot of them really talk and are really happy about not being on-site owners. And I feel like, oh, like to me, I feel like you miss a lot. I'm not saying we got to be the janitor, the cook, and all the things
Right.
like you just said, but I do feel like there's just something special that happens in magical that happens in these centers. And I don't want to miss that. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I'm here is like you to, talk about like
You know,
not only our own centers, but how are we building communities where kids have access to really great care? What would you say was the most surprising challenges that you faced when you opened up your child care center?
I think the most challenging thing is people, and not in a bad way. I think that creating a program, creating a space, being a person that multiple people enjoy, multiple people want to be a part of your program, creating a space that multiple families feel safe leaving their children in your care. I think that is probably the most challenging because it's hard to satisfy groups of people. And so I think that creating a space and a program where people can be excited about being here has probably been the biggest challenge.
I think what happens is when you're the leader of your program, when it looks a little different than when you're a teacher, is like you have all these different personalities and all these different, and so you got to get really good at, like, we might as teachers be really good with the little folks,
Right.
but you have to get really good at the big folks when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
running the center, and you really have to understand different personalities and what they need from you, and um which I think you probably do quite delightfully.
I'm trying
you
my
know
hardest
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, your personality is very welcoming and even
Thank
tempered, so
you.
I am sure that you probably don't have that much of a problem. So let me ask you this: do you find, because of your personality and being so kind and welcoming, that sometimes people could take advantage of that?
Absolutely. I think one thing I've learned, and this is the year we just celebrated on September the 1st was our fourth year. And I think one thing that I've learned in the 4 years is you got to say what you mean and mean what you say. And I think it's okay to be firm but fair. But you definitely, the owner me has to be different than the teacher me.
Mm.
The teacher me gets to kind of, but the owner me has to say, hey, this is the program. This is what works and serves more of our families than not. So this is what we have to go with. I think that I have grown so much in that area and just learned to stand on it and say it and mean it. And even in a loving way. It is what it is, and that's how you have to have boundaries for a successful business.
And so congratulations, first of all, on your 4 years.
Thank you.
That is wonderful. Secondly, I would say congratulations on learning that much quicker than most of us. Because, we tend to have really big hearts and we're very nurturing and caring.
Yeah.
And especially if you were a teacher for like a really long time, we're used to kind of like, I don't want to say passing the buck, but just being like, well, that's the policy that the owners made, the board made.
Right.
But now they know it's you and like you have the power to overrule it. So it's a little bit different. And ironically, my 20, gosh, she's going to be 25. She's 25. She's going to be 26 in October. Daughter said, you're too darn nice. She does not play. We give you a grace period till 9:30.
Okay.
If you show up at that school at 9:32, my daughter does not let you in. She said, "No, you already had a half-hour grace period." I'd be like, Haley. I said, Mom, I said no. I said, no, you want me to be the director of your school?
Yeah.
I said, no, that's the policy. You gave them the half hour. You did the nice thing. You gave the extra.
Yeah.
Because you got to stop, Mom. It took me a long time to get there. It really
And
did.
I still wrestle sometimes with that when you have built relationships with the families, which it's almost inevitable to do. Like, these are my
Mhm.
babies, and
Mhm.
their parents know I love them. I try to take care of them to the best of my ability. And so when you build those personal relationships,
Mhm.
it is very hard. As an owner, I think you owe it to your program
Mhm.
to set those boundaries and to stick to them.
And I think too, not just the program, but you know what, the parents who do follow those policies,
Yeah.
because it's the same thing. Like you have the staff that follow the policies, and then you have ones that don't. And then if you let the ones that don't get away with it, what does that say to
Yeah.
the ones who do? So I think
Yeah.
these are important lessons that we learn over time.
Yes.
So, can you share a few of your daily practices or small wins that have brought you the most joy and satisfaction as a childcare owner?
I think that the hugs, the high fives, the I love yous. My kids right now are really disappointed when it's Friday and we're doing circle time. And I'm like, okay, remember, we don't have school tomorrow or Sunday. And
Hmm.
they are kind of disappointed in that. They want to be here. I think that is the most rewarding thing. Also to have families that come back. One of my babies is leaving this year. She's been with me. She was one of my first students, one of the first two. And she's going to kindergarten this year. I had her sister. And so to have people return is amazing. To get that daily love, those high fives, parents seeing growth in their children, it's all just amazing. And it's so rewarding to know that the work you're putting in, the studying, the conferences you're going to, all of the planning, it really does matter.
Yeah, it definitely does. And the more skill set you have, the more tools in your toolbox
Yep.
that you have, the more strategy you have, the stronger childcare owner you're going to be. And, there's something that you said, and we have so much in common, which is probably why I was so drawn to you. Is I own a childcare center. So for those of you who have a center that has not as small as a family childcare program, but my as a center, my center is pretty small in retrospect to some. You can still have those amazing connections with your families and build those
Awesome.
really strong relationships, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's intentional. And so you
Mhm.
might have to do it a little bit more. Might take you a little bit longer because there's, more students, but it is definitely doable and definitely important. And this is one of the reasons why you have families coming back and why you have kids staying with you from infancy to they graduate out, not because they have to, because there's a shortage in childcare. It's
Right.
because they want to,
Right.
because they want to, right? They see the value in their children being with you. So let's talk a little bit about your approach to leadership and how maybe that has evolved over time, and then what's the impact of that evolution? How has that impacted either your team? Do you work by yourself or do you have assistants?
So I work solely by myself, but we have a support staff that comes in. My kids take Spanish. They have an art teacher. They have PE classes, and they have music. So I have people that come inside
Nice.
to give them support classes and just to kind of introduce them to other adults so that when they go to kinder, they are not just used to one
Yeah.
person. They've seen multiple adults who do different things with them and for them. And so it kind of just prepares them for what's ahead in kindergarten.
That's a great approach. So, as the leader now, how do you navigate, train, hire, all those pieces? Look to say, hey, I would like this brought into my program. Talk a little bit about that.
I think that a lot of what I do probably stems from being a mommy. I have two girls, 15 and 11, and just seeing the things that they have experienced in school, the things that they were excited about doing. And as a mom, just thinking about, oh, I really liked when they did this at school. So let me research this and see how I can implement it into my program. Also talking to my families and seeing like, what would you like to see? What would you like for them to be able to do? I know a lot of times when we pick our kids up, I don't want to go to volleyball or soccer and if they can
Mhm.
do that at school, that is amazing. And so reaching out to my families to see what would you like to see them encounter during their daytime? What do you hear them talk about? I try to ask my parents at the end of the year, like, what did you love about this program we brought in? What did you not like? What can we do better? So that I know the people who are paying for and experiencing this, whether they enjoy it or
So, you do so much on your own. Can you tell me a little bit about how you stay positive and resilient? Because childcare right now, we're all kind of facing some challenges. I mean, you do a lot on your own. So, talk to us about how you stay positive.
I definitely use my community, my friends that do this. Our city has some amazing people that are doing this, and so we hang out together. We do dinner sometimes that doesn't include work. We plan together, like just getting a schedule together. We field trip together. Just trying to use the resources around me, trying to use the people because I am for the most part by myself, so that can be lonely.
Mm,
So encountering people, meeting people at conferences, I was so excited to meet all the people at the conference. That was so much fun. And keeping in
mhm.
contact with those people, being able to send texts, send Facebook messages to just encourage each other, say, hey, that was great that you did last week. I love that. We're probably going to try it. Just finding the good in everything, even when we have challenges, reaching out to your community, to your tribe, and saying, look, this is happening to me. How can I turn this around, make it better? What does that look like? How can you help me? Being able to be that resource for other people, I find it rewarding to be able to answer questions for people. Having the knowledge to just help somebody else. It's a big thing because people need help, and that's okay.
Yeah, we always need help. I mean, 25 years in, you still always learn something new.
Yeah.
Best practice changes, families change, their needs change. I mean, right now we see big changes with universal pre-K coming in, so that looks a little different for providers. It's just, there's so many things that you really need to just stay on top of. So, before we wrap up today, maybe could you give a few words of wisdom or something I didn't ask you for our listeners?
If I were going to give words of wisdom, I think it would be just to start. If it's something that you really want to do, I started with two kids. My classroom space wasn't my ideal space. It was something that I was growing and nurturing, but I just started. And now it's a program that I absolutely love. I love to share with other people. I love for families to come tour. I like sharing on social media, which is something new for me. I did not like it in the beginning. And so I've grown into that because I like what I've built here with the school. Just start, get your wheels going. It won't be perfect. It's, I think, ever changing. So I don't know that it'll ever look perfect to you because it's always
Mhm.
changing, it's always evolving. But just start. There will be people that will help you, people you can reach out to, people that will support you and kind of help you along the way until you get the program or the center or the things that you want out of it.
That is awesome advice. So, can you share your social media information? So, if folks want to follow you on Instagram, or is that where you are? Instagram,
Yeah, we're
Facebook?
on Instagram. Um,
Okay.
I don't know it by heart. Let me look and see that and stuff. We are at underscore Foundations Academy. If you look for the light bulb, I don't know if you can see my shirt. That is us.
I love it. So thank you so much for being an amazing guest. For those of you who are listening, I hope that you are feeling inspired and ready to take the next step in your childcare journey. I'd be happy to help you out, help turn that vision that you have into reality. Give me a call, text me. You can get me email, any of my social media accounts, because just like my friend here, we're all here to help. So, like I said, reach out. We can do a one-on-one, see where you're stuck, and help you through that journey. If you like today's episode, please be sure to give us a rating, review, give us a follow, whatever platform you're listening. And as always, remember, it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business.